One thing about lust, it's going to destroy you from the inside out or the outside in, however your body works. It literally makes you unrecognizable after a certain point. If you have a decent amount of self-awareness, you'll look at your past actions and you'll look at it with some disgust. You're wondering, where did this beast come from? I don't know who that is. Why do you think post-nut clarity is a thing? You know what I mean? You look at your actions with a lot more clarity in your head. You're like, what I was saying doesn't make any sense. And how I was behaving was nothing of a human. So you ask yourself, how did you even get to that point in the first place? I had a realization where I was asking myself, who do I want to be? Because I'm so goal oriented, I'm so ambitious, right? But then we take a look at my actions, right? My actions are saying otherwise. That's a problem. So if I can point out the problem, that makes the solution that much easier, right? Well, unfortunately, that is a lot easier said than done. You're gonna have a hard conversation with yourself about what you're going to do. Everybody's breaking point is a little different. Some require a lot more than others. For me, it was just looking at my text and my call log, and I see all these unsaved numbers about women I have really no care for outside of physical intimacy. And then that right there kind of put things into perspective, especially if I'm nowhere near where I want to be in life. I'm doing great. I'm improving every day. But because I tend to try to be a perfectionist, which is oh, a whole in itself, you are bound to mess up and you're bound to hold yourself to this standard that just doesn't exist because perfection isn't real. But that doesn't mean you can't tighten up your own habits and hold yourself accountable. And that's where the hard part is because nobody wants to do that shit. I wish I could be like everybody else and just do the same bullshit that everybody does and not have a care in the world. But that's not me. I wish it was, but I wasn't wired like that. And for some reason, I'm kind of grateful for that. It hurts in the moment because now I have to do the hard shit. I got to do the tough shit that nobody else is willing to do, but it comes with greatness. And are you willing to pay the price? I am. So with that, I had a hard and difficult conversation with myself, and I looked at my phone and I started disassembling the Avengers, hence the hose, and I realized I'm in no space in my life where um that should be a focus of mine, especially when I'm so big about focusing on myself and bettering myself as a human being. How can I do that when I have all these superficial relationships and I all know how it ends? Because it can only end in one way. I for sure don't want a relationship. I for sure wouldn't take them to meet my mother. So, what placeholder do they have on my life that doesn't require real time and investment? None at all. So, they shouldn't be there in the first place. And it took me a long time to come to that conclusion because whether I like it or not, no matter how self-aware I claim to be, um, I have my weaknesses as a human, one of which being the ego. Ooh, excuse me, I just burped. One of which being the ego. I had this thing where I was a fat kid, right? That's no secret. I'm very open about that. So you would always get made fun of for your appearance, just how you looked, and you would always be taken as a joke. And even the sheer fact of somebody showing you any affection would be laughable by your peers. So it's like I almost took that. Yeah. I brought that into my adult life, and now it's one of the reasons why I hold on to a bad habit with having a few women on standby, which is a habit that does not serve me well because what benefit do they really have to me besides fueling my ego? None at all. They don't bring me any closer to my goals. They don't make me better as a person. And if they were to leave tomorrow, literally nothing would affect my life outside of decreasing instant gratification that I get from seeing them. So if we look at all of this on paper, shouldn't it be a no-brainer that you should have got rid of these habits in the first place? See, you would think that, right? But when you're living in something, you don't really see how it looks. You know what I mean? It's like when you're reading a book for the first time. You can witness it page by page, but you don't really see the gravity and how common sense would tell you how you should do one thing until you get done reading the book. Unfortunately, some people wait till it's too late, and instances like this would be pregnancy. I refuse for that to be me. Everybody has a different wake-up call. Thankfully, I don't have to. So, we're gonna nip that shit in the bud today. Lust is one of those things that everybody has to fight with, whether you're a man, woman, dog, mailbox, cat, mailbox, dog, cat, whatever. And everybody's battle is going to be different. No, there is no one size fits all solution to this kind of problem. Everybody tackles it differently. For me, because nobody's going to hold myself to the same standard as them. Nobody's going to have that hard, difficult conversation with me about the shit. So I kind of have to be the one to do that. And also because I don't like talking to people. So I have to be the one to say, hey, we need to address this situation right now. How are we going to fix it? What are we going to do? Another way how I go about this, I talk about this all the time. I ask myself, what kind of man do I want to be? What is he doing? If it's is it's is the man that I want to be, would he put up with this bullshit that I'm doing? More than likely not. So if that's the case, why am I doing it now? Because the present sets up the future. And when you start thinking like that, it kind of puts you in check and you start to question all your present actions. It's like, okay, if I want to be this person worthy of respect, a leader, somebody who commands authority, why would I be doing this bullshit that wouldn't even sound right in that reality? No man worthy of respect, no man, no real leader is putting his focus into things that don't matter, into people that don't matter, and people that are expendable. This isn't me saying they have no value to life. Everybody has value, but not to me. I need to put that shit more towards what matters. And I thought I was already doing that because I've been steadily upgrading my life. Everything's been going good, but I feel like I can go harder. And this is going to be another video, but when you're not living up to your potential, life feels like a personal hell. And that's not something a lot of people can relate to. And it causes a lot of anxiety. You kind of break down, you get a little bit of insomnia. I start throwing up because of that shit. I think about that a lot. That's why I work so much. But even then, I still have kinks I need to work out with myself. And this is one of them, lust. So the fact that you could have something so dramatic like lust affect your life and you become so unrecognizable, why wouldn't I want to make that change? The truth is, I've always wanted to make that change, but everybody's been feeding into it by praising the activity, mostly my peers. No, 100% my peers. I haven't really had any real pushback on the shit, you know what I mean? You have a lot of women hitting your line, you get access to a lot of women, and obviously as a dude, a lot of dudes can't do that, so they would hype that up, say, "Hey man, good shit, bruh." Not realizing or asking the person, "Why do you feel the need to do this?" That kind of changes the game because when you ask them why do they do this, you'll freeze up. That is a broken man. A man who is distracted or a man who is broken distracts himself with pleasure. Those women that are stroking my ego, amongst other things, are not going to do anything for me. And the hard thing to do, which is really the most smart thing to do, is to cut all of that off so I can begin anew and try to apply myself better to the things that I really care about that are going to make me better. But upon the 21 years of me being on this earth, it's been so hard to do that, and I have no idea why. is because one thing for certain, lust is going to make its way, whether you're on the right path or not. And you combine that with ego too, you got a recipe for disaster. I'm not happy with how a lot of this shit panned out. I know there's a lot of people who would love to have my life, and I love my life. Don't ever get that twisted. It's just a lot of pressure when you hold yourself to a high standard. And it sounds good to paper. It sounds good on paper. Everybody loves hearing that, but nobody really knows what comes with that. I have to be hard on myself because nobody else is going to. You can have your parents, but that shit doesn't last forever. You shouldn't want that to last forever. You got to be able to change the driver's seat. I've had to question so many things getting up to this point, and I can't even say I have a little bit of relief because I know it's going to be something else that eggs me. It's going to be something else that bothers me that I'm gonna always have to fix and tighten up. And I want to give myself enough room and be like, hey, I'm human. I can make these kinds of mistakes, but that's just not me. I feel like I should strive to be the best that I can be. Some call it trying to be a perfectionist. I think it's really a blessing. I think it's a trait of being chosen. I think God wouldn't give me anything that I couldn't handle. So I shouldn't take any of this lightly. And if I'm self aware enough to identify these problems and the things that I struggle with, why not confront them and get rid of them so I can become a better human being? These are the hard and difficult conversations that nobody really wants to hear just because they want to be stuck in their ways. They want to live the fast life all the time. They don't want to have a moment of introspection. Nobody wants to think this hard. Nobody wants to be surrounded by their own thoughts. Even just the thought of that, some people will go crazy. Say, hey, you got to spend some quality time with yourself, not knowing you're blocking your own way from self discovery. But I won't beg anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. Some people are meant to win, some people are meant to lose. And as delusional as it might seem, there's not a reality that I envision for myself where it doesn't involve me on the winning side. And if that's the case, I got to tighten up what I'm doing right now so I can get to that point. This is a real character development in real time. It's a bittersweet feeling. Like I know I'm growing from all these discussions, all these conversations that I have with myself, but it just doesn't feel good because I mean, I have to get out of my old ways, my comfortable ways. But the thing is, I guess that'd be comparable to no, yeah, no, that'd be comparable to like growing pains. You're growing into a new person, but you still got a little bit of pain, but by the end of it, you're going to be a whole different person. And, those stretch marks, those scars are just going to be a sign of who you were in the past. This time, in this instance, lust, ego, it'd be intangible. I guess I just got to start thinking about it a lot better. It's very late, so I'm very scatterbrained right now, but I did want to get out a video. We're building consistency. Um, I had a friend who passed recently, so it kind of ignited more of a fire in my heart. And it's not just motivation because this happened probably about 2.5 weeks ago, roughly. His death will not be in vain. I'm gonna go harder. Don't ever treat life like it doesn't mean anything. This shit can be gone within an instant. I know it gets so redundant because people only say that when people are gone and now they're really suffering. but the message still holds weight. If nobody's told you today, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you for giving me the time of day. Thank you for giving me an ear, and I hope we can learn and grow from this discussion and more in the future. You have a great rest of your night, day, whenever you're seeing this.